She always said everything she did was for my own good. When I was little, those words sounded like love. Now, they sound like control. Looking back, I can see that every decision she made for me wasn't about what was best for me, it was about keeping me tied to her. My mother had that kind of presence that filled a room. Everyone thought she was sweet, caring, the perfect mom. But inside our house, love came with a weight, a kind of love that always brought fear with it. She decided what I wore, what I studied, who I talked to. Whenever I questioned her, she'd say the same line, "I just want what's best for you." But over time, I realized her best never matched mine. I grew up believing the world was dangerous, that people lied, that no one could ever understand me like she did. And in a twisted way, that worked, because I really didn't trust anyone but her. That started to change when I met Daniel. He was kind, simple, everything my mother used to call not good enough. When I told her about him, she smiled, but not with her eyes. It was that polite, forced smile that hides disdain. "He's not for you," she said. "He won't make you happy." I asked her why. She said, "You'll understand one day. Trust me." And once again, I trusted her. But that day never came. As time passed, I began noticing small cracks in her stories about my father, my childhood, relatives I'd never met. Every question had a perfect excuse. Until one excuse finally fell apart. One afternoon, while organizing her documents, I found a folder with my name on it. Inside were papers, my birth certificate, old photos, and a crumpled note. The note said only, "She can't know. It's for love." My blood ran cold. The handwriting was hers. The words looked harmless, but something about them felt wrong. For love. How many times has that phrase been used to justify the unforgivable? The following days were unbearable. I started watching my mother like a stranger. Every gesture, every pause, every silence, I analyzed them all, as if she were performing a role I had never noticed before. One night, I confronted her. I showed her the note. She froze, her eyes dropped to the floor, and she whispered, "Where did you find that?" "In your drawer," I said. What was I not supposed to know? Silence, long, heavy, cold. Then she sighed and said, "Not every truth needs to be told. Sometimes hiding is protecting." That sentence hit me like a sentence in a courtroom. Protecting me from what? From who? But she didn't answer. She just cried. And for the first time, I didn't feel pity. I felt anger, because I realized the woman who claimed to love me most was the same one who had built the walls around my life. After that night, the distance between us grew into a chasm. I couldn't look at her without hearing that line in my head. She can't know. It's for love. So I decided to find out the truth myself. I searched through family archives, public records, old files. Each clue led to another void, until, one day, I found what she had spent her life hiding. It was an old envelope, forgotten among my grandmother's things. Inside, there was a photograph and a birth certificate, but the name on it wasn't mine. It belonged to a girl born 3 years before me, the same name my mother had always said she wanted to give me. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, until I saw the signature. The mother's name was hers, that girl existed, but I had never heard of her, never seen her face. My heart started racing, my hands shaking as I dug deeper into the papers. More photos, my mother, younger, holding a baby, the same room, the same cradle, but not me. And then I found the letter, folded, yellowed, edges torn, addressed to my love, my daughter, dated 3 months before I was born. I unfolded it with trembling hands. "If she ever finds out, you'll lose her forever, but keeping it secret might save her." Signed with a name I'd never seen before. Everything clicked. Her obsession with safety, her fear of letting me go out, her mistrust of everyone around me. I wasn't the first daughter, I was the second. The replacement, the girl in the picture. The first one had drowned. At 3 years old, my mother never forgave herself. And when she became pregnant again, she swore nothing would ever take her new baby away. Not fate, not the world, not even me. That was the secret. It wasn't about who I was. It was about who came before me. When I confronted her, she broke down. She said she hadn't slept for years, that every nightmare ended with that same image, the first daughter, sinking into dark water. "When you were born," she said, "I promised I'd never let anything hurt you again. That's why I chose for you. That's why I lied. That's why I locked you inside what I called love." She called it protection, but too much protection becomes a prison. and I had grown up inside it. I stayed silent as she spoke. I couldn't cry. I didn't know what hurt more, her tragedy, or the fact that I had been raised in the shadow of a love built from loss. She held my hand and said, "I did what I thought was right." And I whispered, "Right for who, Mom? For me, or for you?" The silence that followed was brutal, because she didn't have an answer. In the days that followed, I couldn't look at her the same way. Not out of hatred, but because every time I looked at her, I saw the ghost of the child who came before me, the daughter she lost, and the one I was forced to replace. It took me years to understand, but now I know. My mother never meant to hurt me. She just never learned how to love without fear. And that fear destroyed the very thing she wanted to protect. I still love her, but from a distance, with the understanding that some wounds never heal. They just changed names. She said it was for my own good, but the truth is, her good and mine were never the same. Now, when I think of her, I feel both anger and compassion. Anger for the lie, compassion for the pain that made her tell it. I've learned that not every kind of love saves, some kinds only bind, and silence, even when born from good intentions, can become the most destructive sound in the world. In the end, I don't know if I forgave her, but I learned something she never could. Protecting someone isn't about hiding them from the world. It's letting them live, even if it terrifies you. And maybe that's the kind of love she tried to feel, but never knew how to give.